Hello, David. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening, Loretta. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Every time I hear that theme song, I'm like in the background dancing.
yeah. Do. Great bit of music. Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. How's
How's
your
your week
week
been?
going?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah, it's good.
Good,
Yeah, really
good.
productive. Yeah. How about yourself?
Pretty awesome. No complaints. Getting ready
Yeah.
for birthday parties. So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, I am. So tonight I'm excited because last week we talked about self-love for week one,
Mm.
and I tried to take as many notes as possible. I know you talked about learning how to be happy with yourself. Just for the people who couldn't make it last week, you talked about loving yourself first,
Mm.
right? You talked about the mirror effect,
Yes.
and you told us to write down on a sticky note, everyone is on their own journey, right?
Mm.
As a reminder, which was that's so good. I think we, fall into that. And
Yeah.
then you gave us another exercise. You told us to look in the mirror, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
said, look in the mirror and you said, I love you, I respect you, and I value you.
Yeah.
Maybe not in that order, but that's what you told us last week. And that was really, really good. So I'm excited about this week.
Yeah.
I
Me
am
too. Me
excited.
too. All
What are we
about
going to talk about
self-love.
today?
Yeah. Well, so what did you from last week's? Just Karen from last week's. What did you what did you implement from last week yourself? Did you implement anything from last week?
Yes. So personally, I wrote down on the sticky note the phrase, everyone is on their own journey. Because
Hmm.
I think that for me and for possibly other people, it's like
Hmm.
we're on social media, we're on Instagram, we're on
Hmm.
Facebook, and we start to compare ourselves to,
Hmm.
the snapshots of the perfect picture in people's lives at that second. And we look at where we are. I do that. I've done that. I do that sometimes.
Hmm.
It's like, man, I'm on the grind with my business. I am trying to do it all, the HR department and everything else, and people
Hmm.
and their businesses are thriving, or so it seems.
Hmm.
And just that reminder of everyone is on their own journey, that has brought me back. Like, okay,
Hmm.
where
Yes.
you are is not where I am right now, and that's okay. So,
Yes, absolutely. And I've got these. I've got an extra tip for everyone this week, and something that I use. You got these like key cards. They look like that. So they're small. And what you can do is you can let's get
Shay,
mine
that's
out.
so true.
So you know, you can fold them up and put in your pocket. So you carry them around. Um,
Mhm.
so I put on here. These are things that you can do, just little tips, because I believe it works. It's got to be here. The universe has my back. Simple. Life always goes my way. Simple. Because what you're putting out there is it's the opposite of why me, if
Right.
only, you know. And if we put these and just put in our pocket now, somebody out there might be saying, "Well, that's too simple." Well, we've got to keep reminding ourselves to ingrain and to condition ourselves to think this way. Because if you remember, when we grew up as young children, we were taught by repetition. So by repetition, we would just repeat, repeat, repeat. So Loretta, how did you learn to drive?
Practice.
Yeah, repetition, repetition.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Practicing
how did
over and over again with friends and family and
yeah?
Yep.
So when we do this, it's like it's a form of repetition. Or when we put sticky notes up, it's a form of repetition, and you've got to keep them up until you have nailed it, until you know this stuff. So until you know you're good enough, because if you don't believe you're good enough, do you think it'll show up when you call a client?
No.
Yeah,
It will show up. It will definitely
yeah,
show up.
yeah.
It'll show up in my speech and my confidence when I'm coaching and everything else. So, yeah.
And also, I was on a call earlier, and the client was talking about, closing the confidence when you close the sale. So you're on
Hmm.
the phone,
Yeah.
and if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't, it shows up in your voice. It might show up in your voice when you say to them. They say, "How much is it? The training?" And then
I
you.
think it's $5. I'm really not sure. Are
Yes.
you interested?
Yeah. So anything like that, any nervousness, any doubt, worry, fear, it'll come out. And so we've got to do the work before. All this is groundwork, you know? And there isn't magic, because if you are happy inside, guess what? When you meet new people, it
It'll show.
shows you're confident. If you look like you've got doubt in your face when you walk into a networking meeting, or a business meeting where you want to get some new business, but there's something about you that you don't believe in, do you think that person's going to pick it up from you, your energy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So self-love is so important. I think what we can put under self-love, perhaps we could put under the self-love umbrella, we could put under there self-esteem, self-worth.
Mm.
We'll be covering self-worth next week, so everyone can tune in next week for self-worth. I'll go through the 3 levels of self-worth next week. So we'll have a chat about that off air.
Nice. I
Before
love
next
it.
week. But what I want to talk to everyone about is this week is actually 2 things. 2 things, and one of them has 3 things attached to it. Right. So the first thing I wanted to talk to everyone about is, I'll ask. Maybe I could start with yourself, Loretta. How good are you? You're wondering what's he going to say.
This is not scripted. I have no idea what he's gonna ask.
Yeah, we don't script these. This is like off the cuff. Off the cuff. And Loretta does say to me, "What are you going to say on the show today?" I always forget to tell her. So, Loretta, how good are you at forgiving other people or yourself? I mean, either or. How good are you? How good are you at that?
Honestly, I think I'm really good at that.
Hmm.
I think that's something that I have worked on for years,
Right.
forgiving
Right.
people and forgiving myself also.
Hmm.
So I can honestly say that is something that I'm good at. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. And you've just said it. You've worked on it for years and years,
Hmm.
and sometimes you just got to work on it. It might take months, may take years. You might just like that. And the first thing I want to state is that forgiveness is not condoning or agreeing with what the person did to you, or approving of what they did. It's simply uncuffing yourself from that person. And I always think that there's an old Chinese proverb: if you want to live in resentment and hold grudges against someone, you might as well dig 2 graves. And I think what it means is it's toxic to you as well. It's toxic to us. So for anyone out there, part of our lack of self-love is our hatred or lack of forgiveness for someone or something. And that energy affects you. It does affect you. So yes, forgiveness is something that you can work on, and it's something that, unlike yourself, I've worked on it, and it's the ultimate letting go. It is the ultimate because you are essentially you cutting the cord between you and that person from the past, or from your old self. So it could be something that you have to forgive yourself. So we've got to forgive ourselves if we think we made a mistake or we behaved inappropriately or inaccurately or we weren't ourselves. We have to forgive as well as forgive others, you know. And it's like a freeing freeing experience.
Mhm.
So
I think as entrepreneurs, David, we often um we may deal with that quite often, and that's just it is or it can be making decisions that didn't necessarily yield us the results that we wanted, right? It could be making a bad investment, and even something as small as making a bad investment we could really beat ourselves up about. So just forgiving yourself for making that choice or that investment that necessarily didn't go as planned. So,
yeah, that's right. And you know, we've all made bad choices, and bad and had errors of judgment, and we beat ourselves up about it, and we criticize ourselves, and we feel angry with ourselves. Another emotion we'll feel? Shame, blame, and as a result, um, we feel bad. And then what does happen as a consequence, I believe, is that our self-love, the way we look at ourselves, just changes. You know,
yeah.
that's one way of that can happen. Another way that can happen is the way we were treated. So in a relationship or as a son or daughter, that
Hmm.
we just felt like shit for a long time. So we felt, well, if they don't love us, then maybe we're not lovable.
Right.
Get this idea that a teenager might think, well, I'm not lovable. And so we've got to think about now, uh, if someone out there is looking to improve their self love, the first thing to do is think about what about yourself you need to forgive. So maybe you've had some negative thoughts today. Maybe you've beat yourself up. You think, well, I didn't work hard enough today. Or I woke up late and I'm annoyed with myself because I missed that first Zoom call. Whatever. And then you start criticizing yourself, and then you start blaming yourself, and you start thinking about, well, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not going to make it. And then you spiral into negativity. So if anyone out there is thinking that, but perhaps you can pull back and then just say, listen, I forgive you, whatever your name is. So it could be, I forgive you, Joe, or I forgive you, Carl. I forgive you, Loretta. I forgive you, Dave. Whatever your name is, just say it, and say it for a couple of minutes. Just I forgive you, and while you're doing it, you can even get up and just walk around, go for a walk, and just think about I forgive you. And it's just a gentle. You're being gentle with yourself rather than pouring vitriol with yourself and hate and negativity. And the energy that you pour into yourself is so important, because what happens is you free yourself from the negativity rather quickly, much more quickly than if you are stuck in it. It'll get you out, and it's very practical. So you can do that any time of the day, any time of the day. You might even feel that you've disappointed yourself. You know, I'm disappointed. So you might have this feeling, a negative feeling of disappointed, and you're dwelling on the disappointment. You wished you'd invested in this stock and you didn't do it, and now you're feeling disappointed with yourself. And yeah, judgment, attachment, resistance, brilliant. So if we go on to the the uh, the feeling of judgment, So I'm going to say that as human beings, we tend to observe or judge each other, because when you're meeting someone, you're judging them. When you're coming on a Zoom, you're judging them. You're judging yourself. And people, all over the world are on Zooms and they're judging themselves. I've been on Zooms and people are saying to me, "Oh, David, my background looks so shit. It doesn't look so good." Or they'll say something like, "Oh, my lighting." And so they're judging themselves. So what we're going to think about is, no, what's the information coming out? What value are you giving? Not how you look, but then people are judging themselves all the time. So not only that, they're judging others. But what would the world be like if there was no judgment? I wonder. What do you think, Loretta? If there was no judgment, what would the world be like?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like if there was no judgment in that sense, that the world would probably be a lot better. I mean, I think that, and just, I mean, I don't want to go off into the deep end here, but I think that especially when you bring it down to the simplest level of like kids being constantly judged and then it affecting how they internalize things mentally, which overall affects their actions. And then you see things like school shootings or suicides or things like that. And I know, like I said, that's going off into the deep end, but I think that without judgment or without that kind of judgment, we can definitely prevent a lot of things like that from happening.
Do you know what? I think I saw or read somewhere today that in Japan, in October, more people committed suicide in that month than
Wow.
had died of COVID for the entire year.
Wow. Wow.
Japan has a very high suicide rate, but we're always this fear of being judged as well. That's why people don't like public speaking. The fear of being judged, and it's something that we're always one of the main problems with a lot of people have, like entrepreneurs, is they wonder what other people are thinking.
Right.
So it might be, "Ooh, shall I post this on social media? What are they going to say? Oh, shall I
Is
win?"
it too cheesy of a post? What are clients going to think about the structure of my business or the structure of my coaching or the structure of how I have, like, whatever it is, or the product, if it's a product? Will it be good enough? Will it will it be good as the other brands, maybe even? So I think that's large. Yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody out there is watching this thinking about that, the fastest way that you can think about is, imagine you're in your car, that's your life, and you look at other cars around you. And if you carry on doing that, eventually you're going to crash, eventually. But for you to think about, right, okay, I'm on this planet for a small amount of time, a finite amount of time, actually. So I don't want to look back thinking I spent an awful long time staring at somebody else's life journey when this is my journey, And I would say the second part of that is to think about when we're truly ourself, which is we know, we're not perfect. We know we make mistakes. We know we do lots of great things. It's what makes us human, because when we're actually not perfect. So it makes us human because we've got a brain and we've got eyes and ears, and so we make mistakes. So if you think about, you're out there and you're thinking about your business and you're thinking about, oh, I'm scared of making calls, or I'm scared of going for that training. I'm scared of paying for that training because I don't think I'll have anything to pay with it or left to live on, Sometimes we just got to jump in. Sometimes we just got to do it. And believe in ourselves. Absolutely believe in ourselves. There's been many times where I was scared of paying for a training, thousands of dollars for a training, but you've got to follow your gut feeling, which is how much do you want this? And if this part here, the brain tends to overthink and overweighs things up for so long. Well, your
Mm-hmm.
gut, trust your gut, and it'll tell you because it's linked up to your nervous system. It'll tell you what's right or wrong. Because how many times in your life have you ever wondered, oh, I wished I'd followed my gut feeling. Darn. Oh.
I'll share this really quick story with you. So, like a year and a half ago, I met a movie director through social media. And I went to this red carpet event he had in Florida. Had never met him actually in person, and it was amazing. And I met so many wonderful people. And my family the whole time was like, "What are you doing? You don't know this person." Like, well, and I'm not condoning anyone to do that, but they're like, "You don't know him. It could be a trap or whatever." And I went anyway because I had a really good feeling about this in my gut. I went there. I went to the event, the red carpet event, and then he called me after coming to the event to thank me for coming to the event. The event was in Florida. I'm in Michigan. So did that. And then he called me up again and he asked if I wanted to be in the movie. So look at what happened with that, just going off of going off of my gut and not overthinking it. I mean, thinking enough about it to think it through and to take safety measures, but not allowing this to overthink me out of an opportunity. Really.
Yeah, fabulous. So, what movie was that? Have I got
actually, the name of the movie changed. It was called, I have to look it up and tell you, honestly, because it changed. But I'll let you know. I'll send it to you. Send you the trailer.
I want your autograph now. I want your autograph. I was I mean, I remember last year I was thinking about, right, I've got to promote my book. How do I do this? I don't have thousands and thousands of dollars for marketing. I don't have 20K just to throw out there so that it definitely gets on the shelves, because you can do that. Put it on the shelves in bookstores. So I thought, right, what do I do? So one day I was on Instagram, and there, on top of Instagram, you see when people are live, if they turn up. And I rarely watch them, to be honest, because it's just time consuming. But as somebody came up and I thought, oh, I'll watch this. I don't know why. My gut feeling, it said, watch it. So I watched it. And this lady on there, she was describing how she's been on 80 to 90 podcasts as a guest. I thought, oh. And that resonated with me because I thought, that's it. I'm going to go on podcasts and talk about my journey in the book. And that's exactly what I did. But it was just following that little hunch to watch this, and I don't know why I did it, but and it's happened a few times when I've watched something like a video on YouTube. You're meant to watch this video, but this little ad comes up. The ad comes up first for 5 seconds or 15 seconds, and normally I'm just waiting for it to go. And this one piqued me, and I thought, oh, my gut feeling was watch it. I ended up watching it and then spending about $5,000 on a training, which is brilliant. Yeah, which is brilliant. And that quickly, literally, I watched got taken to a webinar and then ended up having a call, and I did sign up because it helped me a lot with my business. So I invest a lot in my business, but it's got to feel right. So I'm saying, anyone out there, self-love is definitely aided by your gut feeling. Your gut feeling. Sometimes you might not feel good enough about yourself. So then get down to your gut feeling and let that help you. Let that assist you. Because sometimes when your self-love or your self-worth is so low, you need other faculties to help you make decisions. Because sometimes when we're not feeling good about ourselves, we may not actually make the right decision because we don't feel good about ourselves. So use another part of you. What do you think, Loretta? Any thoughts on that?
No, I'm just trying to take it all in. Make sure I take notes. This is what happens when it's live, guys.
Yes. So everyone out there, trust your gut. So if you think about it now, the science behind it is this does talk to the heart, but it also talks to your gut. And our gut, our GI tract, is lined with cells very similar to brain cells. And they are very intelligent cells. So remember, excitement and fear is down here. So I always trust my gut feeling, definitely. We'll go to attachment on that list because Loretta's put up attachment up there. When we become attached to something, so attached to it, it can cloud our judgment. It can ruin relationships. It can make us feel stressed. It can feel anxious because we're so attached to it. We want it. We want that money, or we want that client, and it shows in our face.
I think a lot of that, especially now, is like when you say attachment, David, a lot of that is success. People are attached or attach themselves to success, and that may equate to some people money or fame or whatever they equate success, to whatever they that as. And so I think a lot of people, they lose things in the process of going after that.
Yes. Yeah, we become very attached to stuff because sometimes, as we say, comparing our lives to others, we see it, they're doing it. Why am I not doing it? And we become attached to it rather than attached to the process of achieving our goal.
Attached to the idea.
Pardon?
Said attached to the idea.
That's the idea. Yeah.
Or the outcome.
And the outcome, yeah. And the last point I wanted to make was resistance, which is when we are really, we know when we're resisting, when we're feeling anxious. It's like trying to push water uphill over some rocks. It's not going to happen. We're resisting. We've had a bad day and we're blaming ourselves, or we're blaming the weather. We're just resisting. We just got to let it flow, let it go, just let it. Because when we do that, life's a lot easier. And then when we come home to our kids or when we're with the family, we're a lot lighter rather than we feel sort of heavy and torn inside. Because I always remember T. Harv Eker, the coach. He's an American coach, and he says, tomorrow I can always make a comeback. I like that. Tomorrow I can always come back. Wow, half an hour goes quickly. Wow.
It does. It does. Yeah, I think that's really important too. Almost knowing when to detach from the stress of a day in a life as an entrepreneur is not easy, right? Like I said, we have to wear so many different hats and be so many different things and work a lot of different facets of our business. And so just knowing how to detach from that and not bring it home, because it will and can trickle down to family and things like that.
Yeah. I think somebody's driving home from their office or their work, and before you get home, sometimes you're in a state before you get home. You can always stop before your house, stop further down the road, and just spend a couple of minutes just meditating, pouring some love on yourself, because you don't want to go into the house in a bad state, in a state where you're snapping at the kids and leave me alone. You want to go into the house, with a little bit of love, full of love, because your kids are there to see you, because they don't understand you've had a hard day. They don't even know what the meaning of hard day is at that age.
What would you suggest for the person who works from home? Because a lot of us are
Yeah.
We created offices in our homes.
Yes, and that's quite right. So again, do the reverse, which is leave, go for a walk, even go as far as jump in the car, and if you have to drive to a park, just take that time out, because I think people think that because they're an entrepreneur, I need to be working day and night. I need to be doing every single minute of the day. But that again that's attachment and resistance and judgment all in one ball.
Oh
Because you're
wow.
thinking, I need to do that. I need to be there. Who told you you need to? There's
I've
balance.
done that.
I've done it, you know. But I think some days, there's the Pareto principle, which is the 80-20 principle, which is, 20% of your quality of your work will give you 80% of your results. So if someone out there could think about that and think, right, not everything I'm going to do today is going to bring me new clients or new business. So let's have balance here. Let's have balance. And I think that's really important. Really important. I have my baseball. So I just sort of, sometimes when I'm thinking like that, just thinking, or even if I'm on a Zoom webinar and I'm listening, I'm in the audience listening, I'm just there, just thinking, thinking. Yeah, it's called the Pareto principle, 80-20 principle. So, 80% of your results are due to 20% of your work. And that's the truth. Everything, if you think of your day activities, a few activities are going to bring you the success. A few concepts. So you've got to identify which activities. I think we're going off track here now.
We're not going to keep you guys for another 30 minutes. We're not.
Yes. So yes. So in summation, everyone out there, forgiveness, definite forgiveness. Definitely. Doesn't mean what you did or the other person did was right. Well, what it means is you are unshackling yourself from them. You're taking the key and unshackling yourself. Doesn't matter if it hurts, it's painful. It's a difficult thing to do, forgiveness. But if you can do it, you're saving yourself, not them. And the second thing is judgment. We talked about judgment, attachment, and then resistance, which is
awesome. Thank you guys so much. David, what's going on Thursday?
Yes. Oh yes, tomorrow morning, everyone. I'm doing the Let It Go challenge tomorrow. That's on Instagram at 6 p.m. EST. So
6 a.m. or 6 p.m.?
6 a.m. 6 a.m. Sorry, 6 a.m.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm like, whoa, you made it later. Okay, cool.
6 a.m. EST, and then it'll be it's recorded, so it's up for 24 hours. Maybe one day in this group, I'll do like a Let It Go session. In the future, we'll do something. We'll do like a nice session with slides and everything, and get lots of people to join us, because that's the key for me. It's a key part of mindset. Perhaps we could finish off in this. The question is, why does a lot of self-help not work with a lot of people? Why?
I mean, I think just like anything else, we go to a conference, we get the information, we get home, and we kind of we're pumped up, right?
Yeah.
And then, or after reading a book, whether it's a conference or reading a book or whatever,
yeah,
we're pumped up. We're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this when I get home. I'm taking notes, and then when you get home, it's like, yeah, right. Yeah. It kind of sizzles.
Yeah, it's because we got some idea in our head which we haven't shifted, some idea, right. And it's because of that idea that your best friend might take the information and run with it, and you might not. And it's letting go of that idea, and the idea could be anything. It could be a fear, it could be a belief, and that's the power of letting go. So whenever I work with clients, and the truth is, I have to get them to shift, let go of whatever SHIT they've got going on before they can take on the new stuff. Because otherwise you are battling with the old stuff. So we've got to get rid of that. And that's why I'm really passionate about the let it go process, very passionate about it.
Awesome. I am excited to have that here. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Like this video, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. If you're on YouTube, click the bell so that you can get notifications.
Yeah.
Thank you, as always, David. You always bring great information. Great.
Thank you for being the consummate host.
Oh, thank you. All right, guys, have a good night. It is 7:36 here. I think where David is, it's like 12:30.
12:36.
At night. Oh, man. So, all right.
Good to see you.
And we will see you guys next Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m. EST. Bye. Bye, David.